Hey everybody, one of my favorite stocks and one of my largest stock positions, MercadoLibre, ticker symbol MELI, reported earnings about a week ago, and the stock performed. It shot up to a new all-time high after earnings. Now it is, I think, the number two position in my portfolio, one that I value very highly and don't plan on selling any of the shares. But before we dive into the numbers and what I think going forward and why the stock went up after earnings, please take a minute and check out the link you see on your screen, fool.com/Frankel. Get the top 10 stocks to buy right now from my sponsor, The Motley Fool. It is the best way to support this work I'm doing on YouTube, and stick around after this video for a message from The Motley Fool. Again, fool.com/Frankel. It is in the video description. So let me go ahead and share my screen. First, I'm just going to put up kind of what MercadoLibre, an overview of what the company did this quarter. So you can see really impressive numbers. Look at the foreign exchange neutral figures to get a better idea of just how the business is doing. Gross merchandise volume up $14.5 billion year over year. So the plus 8%, that's in US dollars. I misspoke. That's the one you should be kind of looking at. Sold 27% more items year over year. Total payment volume up 33% year over year. The credit portfolio, which is a relatively new business for them, that's credit cards and loans and things like that, that is growing very, very fast, 74% year over year to $6.6 billion. You can just kind of look at their profitability metrics down here. I'll get into that more in a little while. After they reported their third quarter earnings a few months ago, the stock took a big dive. And the biggest reasons, well, two reasons, were one, their margins. The operating margin really took an unexpected nosedive in the third quarter. It rebounded this quarter. I'll get to that later in the video. And the credit portfolio, a lot of the reason the operating margin declined was because of credit losses. And you'll see how that also kind of put investor fears at ease this quarter. So let me go ahead and put the next one. There we go. So this is the marketplace, MercadoLibre's marketplace highlights. Unique active buyers went from 54.4 million a year ago. So it's, you want to compare last year's holiday quarter with this one. It went from 54.4 million active buyers to 67.3. If we look at the next one, you can see in all of their markets, the growth was pretty impressive. Gross merchandise volume, this is all foreign exchange neutral, so don't look at that too much, but the number of items sold kind of tells you just how the business is growing. You can see this is Argentina's inflation rate, plain as day, 141% growth in merchandise volume. That was an inflation thing. It didn't actually sell that much more stuff, but it did sell 18% more. So out of the three key markets MercadoLibre operates in, Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico, the slowest year-over-year growth rate in items sold was 18%. Overall, it was 27%, and Brazil and Mexico both had a lot of momentum there. So really impressive results right there. The number of items sold per unique buyer. So the average person last holiday quarter bought 7.6 items from MercadoLibre. Now it is 7.8. In the Fintech division, the Mercado Pago payments business, think of this kind of like a cross between like Square/Block and PayPal in their markets. You can see monthly active users of the platform went from 45.8 million a year ago to 61.2 million now. Pretty impressive growth right there. And here's the big thing with the credit losses. I mentioned that credit losses were a big reason for the stock's decline in the third quarter report. And you can see why. From the second quarter to the third quarter, this is their net interest margin after losses from that credit portfolio. Went from a 31% margin to about a 24% margin in one quarter. So obviously that was concerning to shareholders. That's since rebounded. People were wondering if that was going to be like a big downward trend. But it looks like kind of just a big dip, and now it's starting to come back up. So up to about 27.6%. That's a very nice rebound, and that was really what shareholders wanted to see. You can see delinquency rates continue to improve. The bottom line is customers that are 15 to 90 days past due on their obligations, and that has declined for the past 4 quarters. So right here, that's declined, 3 quarters in a row. So that is also moving in the right direction, which a lot of people wanted to see. And last but certainly not least, I wanted to talk about the profitability. So here's what happened in the third quarter. You can see this is on the left side is the operating margin, on the right side is the net margin. And you can see in both cases, from the second quarter to the third quarter, the margin declined quite a bit. 14.3% operating margin in the second quarter, 10.5% in the third quarter. Same with net margin, it went down by 3 percentage points from the second to third quarter. And the company tried to spin it, and some of this was true, as the margins went down because they were reinvesting in growth. And that was some of it. But the biggest component of the change in margin was bad debts, meaning that the credit portfolio wasn't really working out fantastically. So that really alarmed investors. But the fourth quarter really showed them just kind of how resilient this business is. Operating margin rebounded all the way back to over 14%. In net margin rebounded all the way over to 11.9%. These are the comparable numbers. And profitability is as high as it's been. So really, really strong quarter from MercadoLibre. I think that this business has a lot of potential from here. For one thing, both the e-commerce business and cashless payments are still in their relatively early stages of adoption in some of MercadoLibre's key markets compared to the United States. And there's a lot of kind of newer adjacent businesses that have a lot of potential. We already mentioned the credit business. The logistics platform still has a ways to go before it really realizes its true potential. As logistics improves, more people are going to be buying things on the platform. Just think of how much you started buying on Amazon once 1 and 2 day delivery became very commonplace. Same thing here. There's also the MELI Plus premium subscription service. Think of this as like their version of Amazon Prime. That's still kind of just ramping up and is in the relatively early stages. There's an advertising platform that's one of the faster and growing and more profitable parts of this business. So I can go on with that, but there's a lot of different moving parts here that have a lot of room to grow. Love to know what you think. Are you a MercadoLibre shareholder? Are you happy with how they did in the quarter? And I'll do my best to answer any questions individually, and be sure to stay tuned for a message from the Motley Fool right now. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investments. So I'm proud to partner with the Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular product, Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market more than 5 times. Go to fool.com/Frankel to get your 10 stock picks now. The Motley Fool Stock Advisor returns are 914% as of January 7th, 2025, and are measured against the S&P 500 returns of 174% as of January 7th, 2025.